Empathy. What do you think of when I say empathy? I mean, I think of putting myself into somebody else's shoes so you understand how they may feel in a given scenario, like something you may say to them or do. Or what if I said empathy has been a huge driver in even mass violence? You wouldn't think that. And I'm not saying, empathy itself is the cause of it. Of course not. It's just there's many other inputs that cause such a thing. But I'll get into some examples to make it clear. So, a good example, I'll start with this one, will be Hitler. Now, when you think of Hitler, he's done terrible things. Terrible, terrible things. I mean, not even just to Jews, to probably homosexuals and people of color, anything else. But something a lot of people don't understand is that, well, I mean, it is documented. It is very documented of his ambitions of why he did it. The why behind all of the work he was putting in to do this. But it's more so that he had the empathetic drive for his own race, for the pure German race, as he called it, and of course that's a lot of bullshit in a way. It's just an excuse to inflict, violence and push control in a certain kind of manner. But I feel that a lot of people just don't understand that they don't completely lack empathy. Like they're not completely like they're not human. They don't have feelings. There's that. A lot of them do, and of course, there's many cases where people can't feel empathy. There's quite literally people who have been born who probably just cannot feel it. They can't feel empathy in the way that you do or I do. And this is also the case for probably a lot of the parasitic class, I call them, the people who are incredibly, incredibly wealthy, a lot of them. And, it's not just that they lack it, but they use ways to not feel it. There's ways like looking at everybody as numbers or whatever else it may be. And another good example that I have to say is Israel. They are probably the epitome of this because of what they're doing. See, like they're not representing Judaism as a whole. They're representing a branch of Judaism, just like Muslims. They Not all Muslims believe in what you think a lot of them believe in. There's different branches of the religions, and the Tumad or whatever that Israel and Zionists follow. It's basically a book. If I Correct me if I'm wrong, if I got the name wrong or something. But it's basically a book that has all the debates of what's wrong, what's right from all these important figures in Judaism. So it's basically they all get together, they think like, what is wrong? Is this right? They think of everything, like literally even underage, um, like when how old a kid can be to do whatever, do that weird shit. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. They literally talked about stuff like that too. Like that's crazy. They even bring that up. You know what I mean? And that book's full of that stuff. That's what a lot of people follow in a way where they kind of are on the boundaries of Judaism. It's not Judaism. It's more so that the people kind of edited Judaism. They didn't. Those are the people that didn't really think that Judaism itself was because it's already religion. You know what I mean? It's been a religion for literally before Christianity, and it's just like I don't want to keep going too deep into this. I want to go back to Israel because this is what they believe in. They believe a big thing that they believe is that their people are like again the pure people, like kind of like Hitler, but this is way more religious because again, it's like imagine like their entire life view is that they are deserved of this land, this land. Like God gave them this, that, that. That's why a religious state is such a bad idea because this is just going to end up, doing what Israel's doing now. It's going to conflict, and if they ever touch that mosque, that is like a huge staple in the Muslim community, that will be the biggest religious war that is World War III. If Israel ever touched ground in breaking down that mosque to build up their new temple, because basically what Israel's doing is like it's not exactly what they're doing, but a lot of what they're doing too is trying to kind of force the Messiah to come back, kind of force it. Like they're more so like actual Judaism is like, oh, like Messiah will come back when the Jewish people need him most and stuff like that. They'll save him. create heaven on earth or whatever, and something about the temple, build the temple or whatever. The temple that I forgot the name of it, but Israel's well, some people that even live in Israel, a lot, Zionists believe that they can just force it to happen. They can make the Messiah come. They can make heaven on earth. They can force this. They can push it. And not all of it is religious, of course, but a lot of it is. Most of it is because it's also a way of like kind of their ego. They kind of pushing their ego where they're deserving of this. They are the chosen ones. And that's with like that's with so many branches of religions too. They just believe they're the chosen ones. When that's not the case. We're not better than a fucking dog or insect. We're all just something that's been created experience. There's nothing special. Of course, there's special in everything, but I'm not saying we are no better than everything else around us. We are no better. We've only gotten lucky enough to gain the consciousness to create the life around us in kind of this artificial life. Yeah, that's a big thing about, again, Israel. They believe that, they're doing good for their own people. This is the empathetic kind of drive that they have. And it's not that they lack it, it's just that they have an empathetic drive that kind of creates violence. And again, I'm not saying empathy itself does that. Of course not. Empathy itself is the complete opposite of that. It's for you to feel what you're doing to people, regardless of what you believe or not. It's just feeling what you're doing to people, understanding their position. And a lot of people don't do that. Like, most people don't do that, actually. It's most people just like judge, mock, or do whatever they want without thinking about the context of that person's life. Because again, when you're living, you're in the center of attention. You are the world. Like you're the one that's viewing this. You're the one that's living it. So it's that kind of effect, especially with children, where you're kind of like the center of the universe. You know what I mean? You feel like you're the center of the universe. You're the main character, and of course, like you're the main character in your own life. Yes, of course, you can control your life. You can do what you want to do. But of course, we have limits with things. You cannot like empathy is such an important trait, but it's also been used as a way to push violence. And of course, Israel's done that. Hitler was again another example of that. And there's many. Another example is again slavery, where there's the abolitionists or something. I can't remember the exact name. They had what we would say a better look on the empathetic way of using it to push violence. Because what they did was they were like, oh, like they felt what these slaves felt. Like they were like, these slaves are going through such terrible things. Like I can't imagine doing this. I can't imagine feeling that. Like they're the ones that are like that, and they completely dehumanized these slave owners. So they were like, they would have done anything to get rid of those people, torture them, kill them, whatever they want to do, for their empathetic drive to feel satisfied of those slaves being free, to feel that they would feel being free, to make sure it's that kind of empathy that does drive violence, and it does happen. It's not something that we can just breeze over. We got to understand why is it that some empathy, like empathy, can drive violence, and we got to understand how we can direct it to, you know, create a world where we don't that isn't a possibility. Obviously, it's going to be super super hard. That's something that's quite literally takes a huge collective of people. That's why I always say like just do your own part. Do your own part in the world, but collectively is what makes the difference. So like me eventually having my foundation or whatever, trying to give back to the world in my own way, that's my own contribution. Somebody even just, like something that I'm doing right now, just explaining it, teaching it, trying to push it out there, that's also playing a part. And if collectively this is what makes the difference. It's not you can feel useless for doing just your own job where you feel like, oh, I'm not doing much. But collectively is what makes the difference. If everybody thought that, there wouldn't be different, there wouldn't be change. Speaking of now, the system is so fucked up, but not everybody's collectively, like trying to change the system. They're just accepting it what it is. Like, oh, I can't do nothing. I'll let somebody else do it. What if everybody thought that? Because what if everybody thought that, like most do, and we can see that nothing fucking changes. Nothing changes. Things keep continuing to go to this surveillance state, this bullshit world that is the complete opposite of the utopia. It's the literal epitome of I forgot the damn name of it for some reason. Not utopian. I'm actually blanking right now. Holy crap! How do I forget that? But yeah, no, like more towards like the surveillance state and that kind of world where, people just accept it and that's what makes things not change. And then like think of the Epstein files, for example. Like nobody's talking about that anymore. And we know how fucking insane this was. Like this entire and it's still going on. Fucking don't even try. I bet you this shit's 100% still going on. We just don't fucking know about it because again, there's different actors. Might just move my screen. There's different actors in this. It's not just this one person. If one goes down, some will replace him. There's a market for everything. Especially like, like what the rich want. They'll get what they want. So like there's going to be a market for them. And when it comes to like this whole trade thing that Epstein was doing, and this is only a small part of what he was doing. I bet he was mainly making money off of his connections and connecting people because again he understood people's needs and he was able to connect with these people and be like, oh, like this person needed this, you guys would be great to work together, or this or this or this. He was the connector. He understood connections and he held like a memoir in his brain of who needed what, who does what, who like, and just to be able to connect people. And that probably made him most of his money. You know what I mean? Connecting people, making these deals happen. That's huge. But of course, you can't undermine the actual biggest issue here was, of course, the whole child sex trafficking. But like again, most people just completely forgot about it. They didn't even care. Like we're just not gonna do nothing, I guess. But yeah, it's just kind of how it is. Like everyone feels powerless as an individual, but that's what creates nothing to change because like they feel that they're powerless, which they're not. Like think about Ants, the Ants movie. Ants movie is literally made about the rich and the poor. It's quite literally that. You can't fucking tell me I'm wrong. Like there's so many movies that have had that image and like have thrown it out there because they don't care because Hollywood's a movie. It's a movie. It makes it seem more fake so that they can be like, oh, that's just a movie. Just a movie. It ain't fucking real. Just to make it seem less likely. That's a big thing with Hollywood too. Yeah, back to empathy. The whole point is that empathy itself is good. All right, my webcam paused. I don't know why. It's been doing this here and there once in a while, but I'm gonna cut this short now. I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. But yeah, empathy itself is good. I'm not saying empathy is bad. I'm just saying that we have to understand that like it's a lot of these people aren't just like not empathetic. There's some drive behind their actions that makes it so much more meaningful to them, which makes it so much worse for the outcomes that could happen, such as Israel, because it's religious. It's their entire divine life. Like imagine like thinking your entire life, like you are deserving of this, and that. You don't give a fuck about those other people. You just care about your own people, you guys are the elites of the world or whatever. That's the same thing with the rich. They help each other, but they don't fucking care about the poor. So yeah, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. But if anyone has any other thoughts on this, let's talk about it. I love, talking about these kind of subjects. I'll make another video, um, maybe a few videos a week on these kind of subjects, the world, psychology, business, macro politics, whatever it may be. It's just, it's just a lot of these subjects can get it pretty deep. So when it comes to short form, it's very hard to not make this a long video. I like to have longer videos, but it's very hard when I just want to keep talking. So, yeah, I appreciate you watching. If you want to talk on this in the comments, leave your ideas. I'll reply. I love to talk about this stuff. And, appreciate your time watching me, especially if you're watching till now. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll be making more videos like this, and as well as, of course, the business stuff I do, like automation. That's a part of the content I make to have, put my work out there. So yeah, I appreciate watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay empathetic, please. Be good to people around you. Put yourself in their shoes and understand where they came from. Because again, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason why someone isn't what they could be. Like, it's upsetting that a lot of people don't live up to their potential or understand something because they're kind of a subject to what this world's made them. The world's made them. That's basically it. Alrighty, peace.